Tell the truth and be authentic even if it kills you. A lot of people are concerned with what will happen if they tell the truth, or what people will think of them, because they care about what people will think of them. Why would you care what's going to happen if you're your authentic self, if you don't care about the world, or if you're not being fooled by the illusion of this world? But the only way you can be fooled by the illusion of this world is when you put your stock into investments like, oh, let me put my investments into what this person thinks about me, what this person thinks about me. And you find out it was a scam. Because you're gonna get scammed every time you try to put your self-worth and find it through other people, because nobody will ever be able to perceive the true you, because there isn't even a you. You're just a universal expression that's here for a time and is expressing itself uniquely, and then it will pass away. And a lesson that we can learn from sage Jesus is, even when he was being crucified, he said to God, look how surrendered he was. He said to God, forgive these fools, for they do not know what they are doing. Forgive them, my Father. Let them be. And that is true surrender. Jesus was an enlightened sage, obviously, by that. Because an enlightened sage is surrendered. He doesn't care what happens. It's all God. He knows it's all God's plan. And Jesus had such a deep forgiveness for fools, because he knows that that's their destiny. It's a destiny for fools to be fools. But the wise man, his destiny is to be his authentic self, no matter what fools do to him. Because even Ramakrishna, a great sage, was thought to be crazy. He was taunted. He was very unorthodox. People didn't believe in him. He didn't believe in a caste system or anything, and people hated him for that. Look how these fools uphold a caste system, right? And a lot of prejudices and preconceptions of people, right? But a great sage is hated because he lets go of those preconceptions. You see how foolish this world is? Jesus is killed because all he wanted to do was spread love and light. But you worry about what this world is going to think about you. Don't you see it's foolish? Don't you see violence is always evil always seems to win in this world? The world leaders and stuff like that, people who control, they could feed starving people whenever they want, but they fill their own bellies. And you care about what this world has to think about you? Like it ever even mattered? Like it ever had any importance? You have to ask yourself, instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with those people who judge me? Ask yourself, why do you care? Because your actions can be perceived in so many different ways. They're never going to be perceived perfectly. A lot of people, they try to get validation from outside sources, but they would get the ultimate validation if they would just be as they are. Your authentic self doesn't need validation. It just is as it is. God is the most authentic being in the world because he's just everything, and you are everything. So be God. God is authenticity, and you are God. But you immediately lose your godhood when you worry about what people are going to think about you. People always have an issue. They always have some type of problem. Even if there is no problem, they're going to create one with you. So you have to accept it, because people are so irrational. A lot of the times they're playing with images of you and not the reality of you. And they don't even want to see the reality of you. Is that crazy? But that's the play of God. Because not everybody can be wise. So there's also fools that will judge and will always uphold religious factions and stuff like that will just separate people. So we have to accept this foolishness, and we have to separate ourselves, right? A lot of people say, oh, the wise man, he just loves everybody and sees everybody as one. That's true. He accepts everybody for what they are, but that does not mean he doesn't see this. This entire illusion is a play of separateness. There's good and bad, endless yin and yang, right? So we know that there are fools. We love the fools, but we accept the fools because we don't want to disturb our minds with their foolishness and punish ourselves for their foolishness. But we also acknowledge that they are fools while loving them. Because let's say you love something that's bad for you, right? You need to be able to get it away. Like Ramakrishna says, yes, God is in the wicked man, but that does not mean we should associate with the wicked man. So people who judge you and people who don't see your light for what it is and try to help you and uplift you, you have to remove them. But people, they're scared to remove toxic people and people that hold them down and people that judge them from their lives because of that tribal fear. It's so easier to be, it's easy, to this foolish mind it's easy to be in a group that hates you than it is to be free and have no one. That's how this foolish mind thinks, because it thinks so immediately. It thinks in terms of security, but security will never free you. Moving constantly in insecurity, and life is insecure. It never has a known. Life is always in a state of unknown. A known is only for a little moment, and then as soon as that moment passes, it's a memory, but you try to hold on to that memory and call it knowledge, but you have no knowledge. You only have freedom. And the way to recognize this freedom is to realize your pure being, the pure I am. What is your pure existence beyond your mind making judgments on it? Because people can only judge you when you allow it. It's like, imagine you were a translucent mirror that everything just went through it. Everything passed through it. Bullets, everything just passed through it. But then you decided to become a mirror that can shatter. Like, you see how ridiculous that sounds? But that's what you do when you identify with the mind and worry about what people think of you and grab onto thoughts, intrusive thoughts that say, oh, I wonder what this person thinks about me or this or that. Nobody's ever going to be able to know the true you, because there is no you. The only perception you can have of yourself is through the ego. Your true perception is having no perception. Isn't that beautiful? True perception is having no perception, because when you have no perception, you're open to all perceptions. That's the infinite I. That's freedom. But when you're so focused on what validation you're going to get from people, you can't see the infinite I, because you can't be free. You can't just, it's like I'm imagining like a little girl running around in the playground. That's what you should imagine yourself as, because that's who you truly are. A little girl running around in the playground in God's playground. But you restrict yourself from playing when you look around and wonder, oh, I wonder what the other kids are thinking of me. That's what you do. Instead of just running around and playing in the grass, you're worried about what the other kids think of you instead of having fun. And that's, you betray yourself. And true freedom is not needing anybody's validation, not needing any reward or life for what you do. Non-doership is the most beautiful thing ever, because you are a non-doer. Only God does things. So being your authentic being is being aligned with God. And the beauty of being aligned with your authentic being is you don't even care if you're killed for being your authentic self, because at least you got the privilege of being your pure being, your pure self, the purest way you can be. And you get a lot more, you get beautiful experiences that way, because you attract pure people yourself. And only somebody who is humble enough to truly be himself and doesn't want the validation of others can be enlightened. Because even Krishna, the video got cut off unfortunately, but another example of why you shouldn't care about validation or being validated by society is that even Krishna was in a council in the government, and he was going to be voted in for a position, but the guy, even though he knew Krishna was the most qualified, he did not want him to be the head member because he was jealous. Now you see how people they'll reward a lie more than truth. You see the foolishness of people, even though they know he's the most qualified, that'd be the good for all the people, for the good of all people. But this is why the wise man doesn't care about validation, because who cares what this fake society, if it gives you your due merit? Who cares? Why do you care? Don't try to be something, because that'll restrict you from being as you truly are.